Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth, and if you're new, welcome. Today I'm making sort of an unusual project for me. We do a lot of quilts on this channel, but today somebody asked me about making a cat bed. I made a dog bed quite a few years ago with 2 pieces of flannel, and today for the cat I pieced some of my flannel scraps and I made this little quilted bed for a cat. We're starting off the new year with something unusual. Thank you for asking me though how to make it, because I was able to use some of my scraps up, and I'm going to be sending this to my son and his wife to see if their little kitties will enjoy using it. Let's get started. To begin my project today, I started with a piece of newspaper that is about 24 by 24 and some of my flannel scraps. I really like the feel of the flannel for these dog or cat beds, and here's my backing, this cute sewing scissor fabric, and I thought I'd start with a quilt block, so this would be an option. This is a nice quilt block from a previous video, I think it was last year, but I really wanted to go with the flannel, so I'm going to piece some flannel strips together. I folded my newspaper and I just rounded those edges, and knowing that this is just a bed for a cat, I am not going for perfection. I just want to round that corner to make this bed round. Had my pattern made, I started sewing my strips together, just using that big circle sort of as my guide, figuring out how long I needed to make all of my pieces here. So I'm going to cut my strip and start sewing, alternating the orange and the blue fabric. I picked that blue, I chose that blue because of the fish. I thought that was kind of appropriate for a cat. So that's what I had on hand in a lot of that fabric in my flannel stash is for children. So, but I think this is going to make a really cute little cushion for the cat. after pressing my pieced fabric strips here, I'm going to use that paper as my guide, and I'm first going to put my backing down, and then I will put the stripped piece face down on the backing fabric, and then I will pin the pattern on top and cut around these two pieces together. I will be separating these two pieces to do a little work on the top here. So I'm going to mark, since my circle is not a perfect circle, I want this to match up when I'm done working. So I gave myself some little markings with the pins. I pinned the backing fabric and I pinned the top fabric in the same area so that when I put this together, they will match up. Now I'm going to take some batting, and I have some batting scraps, and I'm going to put a couple of pieces here together since they are not a complete square. I'm just using some scraps. If you had a square piece, that would be fine too, but I'm going to just lay these together, and I'm going to quilt just the center of this circle. So I'm going to turn, well, I'm going to pin first just to kind of hold it in place, and then I'm going to turn the top of my little cushion over, and I'm going to be marking a circle and then quilting the center. Right now I just have the top of my little cat bed, and I have the batting is pinned behind, and now I'm going to go around and just make some little pencil marks 6 inches away from the edge. I will be drawing a hand-drawn circle using these little pencil dots as my guide, and it won't be, again, it's not going to be an exact circle, but I think it'll turn out just right if I give myself enough pencil marks and I just sort of curve the line as I go around with the pencil. Pencil is washable. You could also use chalk or another marking device, but I'm just using a really light pencil mark to make that center circle 6 inches away from the outer edge. Now I'm going to add some simple lines, some simple quilted lines in the center circle from one side of that center circle to the other side. I'm just going to do maybe 3 or 4 lines of stitching to hold that batting in place. It just gives the center of this little cushion a little layer of, softness. And when I'm done adding these quilting stitches through, I will be putting the front and the back together. And some of you might wonder about the excess batting behind there. There will be excess batting, and I think that's just going to be fine because I'm going to be filling the outer circle, sort of like a donut. My backing, and remember I marked it with pins, and so I'm going to find where I put my pins, and I'm going to put those edges together, and I will pin the front and the back together, right sides facing each other, and I will leave an opening so I can turn it right side out. After turning it right side out and getting everything nice and smooth, I'm going to sew right along that pencil line that I drew earlier and make sure that all those batting pieces are smoothed out, and I will go all the way around that inner circle. After getting that center circle sewn all the way around, I took some polyfill and I also added some batting scraps, some little tiny pieces of batting that I cut up. Sometimes when you're done with the quilt, you have some leftover strips that are just too small for most projects, but I'm going to use it in the outside of this cat pillow or cat bed to fill in this little stuffed area to make it nice and soft. After getting that tube filled with stuffing and batting, I'm going to close up the opening with my machine. I'll stitch as close to the edge as I can, folding the raw edges in. And of course you could do this by hand if you wanted it to be a little bit neater. I really like the way this little cushion turned out, and I'm glad that somebody asked me how to do it. I had fun making it. I always enjoy sewing with you, and I will see you next time.